guys in love? I have a message.
A video camera? Wait. Remember, this is the first time. For the jokes that die, we will be saying Kaddish after the show. These are jokes that I could never do any other night, and I love it. It feels good. Yeah, thank you. Oh, for Mr. Dr. Sorry, Pop. Mark Gottesman, yeah! Walking up to the microphone when people that have been 16 feet taller than me have been there.
That's pretty funny, Mark.
See, these are all the folks that felt socially obligated and knew they'd be in trouble if they didn't come. Either that or they looked to see the cake with the big things on it. And I won't tell you who modeled for the cake. But there's at least 3 or 4 people in here that might fit the bill. Anyhow, as I listen to all the great guys that are on before me, I realize that there's a difference between what I do, which is just trying to find another way to beat the malpractice premiums and get us on the line, and what these guys do. I mean, their stuff comes right out. I usually just react to what I see, which is the usual, that reminds me of the one. But I've got to do that, though, because a few of them just popped into my head. Especially the guy that was dating the Jap. Who was it that was dating the Jap? I mean, because how many folks in this room are Jewish? How many folks aren't but wish they were? How many folks are but wish they weren't? Anyhow, the Jewish boy was breaking his mother's heart and dating a girl that wasn't Jewish. She was Indian, American Indian to be exact. Running deer, and he ran off with her, and his mother disowned him, his rich mother. 5 years later, though, he called her and said, "Mom, this is me, Sammy." She goes, "Sammy, my son, it's a long time we haven't spoken." He says, "Mom, before you hang up, I just want to let you know, Running Deer and I have made you a grandmother." And she pauses, and all is forgiven in that moment. And she says, "Sammy, that's wonderful news, wonderful news." He says, "Mom," and it was a boy. "Your first grandson is a boy." And she goes, "Oh, Sammy, I now have an heir." He goes, "Mom, and Running Deer and I have decided, just to please you, to give the baby a Jewish name." And she says, "That's wonderful." He said, "Yes, we decided to call the baby Whitefish." My problem is half the people in this room have heard most of my material. These are just the warm-ups for me. Keep the idiot card ready for me. I mean, and what was it the guy was talking about, the way the condoms taste? I mean, the Maggie, the female Aggies, they can't use the vibrators because it chips their teeth too much. You just get that? Okay, if you like that one and didn't like it, we'll give you one about the Maggie. Maggies are female Aggies. There are such things now. A&M opened up its door. Didn't you go to A&M? I need to be sure of that first, especially if anybody of these guys is bigger than I am in the core. You know, I applied to A&M before I came down to Texas. I applied to a few schools, got into the good ones, LSU. Anybody go to LSU? Be a Tiger. Got into A&M, and I got into Texas. You know, and all my friends from down here said, "You don't want to go to A&M." I said, "Why not?" They said, "Are you from New York?" I said, "Yes." They said, "Are you Polish?" I said, "No." They said, "You don't go to A&M. The only New Yorkers that go to A&M are Polish." Okay. But anyhow, they just knew that rubbish. Loyal Texas fan, slightly oiled. Anyhow, it reminded me of the Maggie that was speeding back with her roommate to College Station trying to beat the dorm curfew. By the way, Blanche, a few of these will be a little off color, just for you. And she had to beat the dorm curfew. Freshman Maggies still have to be in the dorms by, 9 o'clock, whatever. And sure enough, she sees a speeding, and she sees a red light in the rearview mirror. He says, "Oh no, the police." And she pulls over, and sure enough, the highway patrol car pulls up behind her, and a big, burly highway patrolman stomps out of the car and looks in the driver's side and nods to himself and says, "Uh-huh, Maggie's." Slowly unzips his pants, undoes his belt. The dirty ones don't bother you, Mom. No, takes out his schlong and taps on the window with it. And one Maggie looks at the other one and says, "Oh no, the breathalyzer test." Anyhow, you see a lot of people here tonight. My folks have come all the way from Las Vegas. My mother-in-law, who truly epitomizes the old saying, behind every successful man, there's a loving wife and a shocked mother-in-law. She epitomizes it. I'm only married, yes, because I love my wife, and because of, after 5 years of dating and not being forced into it, an invitation arrived in the mail to my wedding with a note in her handwriting that said, "Be there." I was there, a little late, but I made it on time. Anyhow, I got a lot of co-workers here. If anybody is pregnant, this is a good time to break the bag of water. There's a lot of obstetricians in the audience here. If you need to deliver, the finest of Methodist Hospital labor delivery is here. If anybody needs their uterus taken out very quickly, the finest of Methodist Hospital Jim's surgery is here. If it gets screwed up, some fine attorneys are here as well. By the way, let me point out again, fire exits, you know where they are. Attorneys, right through that room marked yes. Stand in line. Anyhow, there are a lot of good crew here tonight. Oh, and for anybody that does have a venereal disease, Dr. Robert Zerwin will be passing out his cards. You think I'm kidding? I don't believe that for a minute. Dr. Robert Zerwin has recently gotten married. There is his new bride with him tonight. Still blushing, not long back from the honeymoon. And I'm reminded, having recently attended their wedding, of some sage wisdom that I heard. This being the era of equality between the sexes. I know women have a raw deal. Believe me, I know how raw sometimes. But this is the era of equality between the sexes. And I'm reminded of a little wisdom that I heard at the night before your wedding. Of a couple that is on their wedding night, and he is expectantly watching her get undressed as she watches him get undressed. And just as she's down to her bra and panties, he says, "Stop, wait a minute." And he looks at her admiringly, and he says, "Just one more minute." And he slowly unzips his pants, takes them off, and hands them to her. And she says, "Do you want me to hang them up?" I said, "No, I want you to put them on." She goes, "What do you mean? Just put them on, okay?" So he says, "Okay." She puts them on, just zip up the fly, do the belt. She said, "They're too big. Just do it, humor me." A loving wife on the honeymoon. I mean, it's not the first time, but what the heck? On the honeymoon, she zips them up, buttons the fly, and they immediately fall down around her ankles. She goes, "What's the point?" He says, "The point is, let's get this marriage off to a good start. I'm the one that wears the pants in the family." She says, "Okay." And he proceeds to get undressed. She goes, "No, wait a minute. He goes, "What's the matter?" She goes, "Just a second." She rolls down her panties, hands them to him. He says, "What do you want me to do?" She goes, "Put them on." He goes, "Hey, come on. I'm a native Texan." Just humor me. Nobody else is here. Put them on. He says, "Okay." He can get her panties up around her knees and no further. He says, "Honey," he says, "I can't get into your panties." She says, "That's right. And until your attitude changes, you don't have a prayer." I'm looking to see if the women are applauding that more than the men. Also, it also depends upon the size of the woman and the size of the man. So some couples better not try that tonight. It's really embarrassing. And you put into your wife's panties. And I'm still on the cognitive stuff. I haven't even gotten to my material yet. I mean, the associative stuff that these guys went through about the guy that was from San Francisco and wasn't sure about his sexual proclivities. And I'm reminded of the story of the two gay guys that are walking down the street with just a ravishing blonde walks past them, and one guy turns and looks over his shoulder at her and heaves a sigh and says, "You know, sometimes it's almost enough to make me wish I was a lesbian." I bet I've been hitting my card pretty soon. Anyhow, some of my coworkers who remain nameless really deal very well with humanity. I mean, we see all kinds of folks that come into the office, some in need, some that think they're in need, some that don't know what the heck they need. And I've noticed that two of my very intimate coworkers have only one problem. They don't like men. They think that the only thing that matters with men is that they breathe. Actually, one of them keeps a little poem on her desk that reads something as follows. Women have so many faults, men they have but two. Everything they say and everything they do. So it's a good thing I'm not a proctologist because my clientele will get very turned off by that. These are the kind of women that probably on the wedding night give the old standard line, is it in? Put that politely over there. I was recently in Las Vegas, which I just recently learned means the Meadows or the Meadowlands. I like that good code name. Where are you going tonight? I'm going to be gone for 2 days. I'm going to the Meadows. Okay? Must be looking at real estate property. Anyhow, I was recently in Las Vegas and had the pleasure of seeing Joan Rivers. Any of you have ever seen Joan Rivers? Is she here tonight? Is she here? Lady with a black eye from Johnny Carson? Anyhow, any of you have ever seen Joan Rivers know that she does a lot of routine on gynecologists, and I guess we all enjoy that, especially the gynecologists in the crowd enjoy hearing things from her end. But you know, tonight I decided that there was really no pun intended in that. But you know, things are difficult from our end of the things table as well. I mean, patients always think that it's the most embarrassing thing for them to go to the gynecologist. I have to go today. It's almost as bad as going to the dentist. In fact, the best compliment we get is when afterwards, as they're leaving, they say, oh, by the way, you're really not even as bad as my dentist. That's the pat on the back. I say, fine, don't forget to floss. Things are difficult from our side of the table, too. I mean, I know the embarrassment that's intended in going to the gynecologist. I mean, I even know of a lady that used to wear sunglasses when she went thinking that he might not recognize her if she wore her sunglasses. Who are you? Oh, that's who you are. We got her, though. Many years later, her daughter came to see me, and our nurse and I wore sunglasses into the exam room. I put the speculum in her ear. I couldn't see her. Anyhow, I know it's embarrassing from your end, but it's free. Anyhow, it's a little bit tough from our end sometimes. Things patients tell us. I'm not even sure whether or not to always believe the things that they tell me, but the really toughest thing is just having to keep the, oh, that's interesting. Shut this down. Some women like to keep their temperature. That's very important to them. Some women keep their temperature in the mornings. Someone take their temperature other times of the day. When they're trying to get pregnant, will sometimes keep their temperature. There's a nice little calendar. It's basically a 31 slots, and you mark off your temperature each day. And it's nice to put little arrows in or a little check mark on the days that you have been sexually active. That helps your gynecologist know she's getting it on, or her timing was good. But every now and then you'll get the one patient that comes in and says, this temperature chart of yours is no good. What's the matter? Is your thermometer not working well? Or are you having trouble waking up in the morning? She said, no, the chart's all wrong. What seems to be the problem? I can't get more than 3 arrows into one box on any given day. Okay. Blow up the chart for her. And the other woman that come in and will occasionally tell us things that will make your hair curdle or curl, as the case may be. Personally, I think I've decided to adapt this and come out with one of the latest bestsellers. There's currently 5 bestsellers on the diet list, the diet books. My new diet is the Gynecologist Diet. Okay, you have several options. Paragraph 1 is things you might want to read before you go out to eat that will kill your appetite. But even better is to go out to date the gynecologist. because invariably at some meal, just as you're about to put the first forkful of food into your mouth, somebody will come up to him and tell him something that's going on with them that will make you want to throw up into your plate. That is called the gynecology diet. That is my second chapter over there. I'll look at the sheet for a second. Yeah, senile, my old age here, which reminds me of the latest geriatric disease, Waldheimer's disease. Y'all heard of that, where you grow old and forget you were a Nazi? Yes, you guys might remember this. Like, we have a lady that comes into the office that, when she's examined, likes to pull the sheet over her head. I guess it's a variation on the sunglass routine. She feels that it helps her cope. I'm going to fix her the next time she comes in. I'm having the Grand Dragon come in and examine her. She'll feel right at home. No problem. I'm just embarrassed too. Don't mind the 3K initials. That's the medical society I belong to. Sometimes embarrassing things happen to us as well. A colleague of mine, who remained nameless, was several years ago faced with the not unusual dilemma of a woman having warts in a very compromising place, using the latest tool, which was a cautery, a burning tool of sorts. He was going to remove them for her. I mean, imagine his chagrin for a minute when he set her pubic hair on fire. And sat there trying to blow the flames out. Especially in this medical legal era, these are not stories you can normally relate in public. I mean, you know, these are things you have to talk about in the doctor's lounge, and even then you have to look around to see who's taking notes. But occasionally there are things that can happen that you can relate to one and all. Okay, they're a little bit embarrassing, but really no harm intended. And this is the story of the lady that came to the office. Not mine, of course, we're always well stocked, but she came to another office. They were just a little bit behind on one thing, and this was really a no-no in the gynecologist's office. They had forgotten to stock the bathroom with enough toilet paper. I mean, there's one thing a woman always does when she goes to the gynecologist, especially if she's pregnant. She'll go to the bathroom 2, 3, 4 times a day. Which reminds me, nobody's gotten up to go to the bathroom, but y'all ever notice how it's okay for women when they go to the bathroom to say, Shirley, honey, Marjorie, you want to come go to the bathroom with me? That's no problem. But, you know, if I get up, Rob, Bill, Jack, you want to go to John with me? The women are gone by the time we get back to the table. What do women do in the bathroom together? I've always wondered, you know. Check under the stalls while I go. I want to make sure there's no cockroaches watching me. Anyhow, this woman came to the other gynecologist's office and they had run out of toilet paper. However, she was a 20th century resourceful woman, not one to simply open up the front door and the back door and tinkle off the side of the car. She always carries toilet tissue with her. Be prepared. Kleenex even will do. She reaches into her purse and takes out the Kleenex, uses it, and proceeds to go into the room and change for the exam. Doctor comes in, introduces himself. How are you doing? What's going on? Begins to do the exam, and immediately proceeds to laugh and laugh and laugh. Well, the patient's a little miffed. He says, oh, I'm sorry. Nurse, can you please come here for just for a second? The nurse looks around the thing, and she proceeds to laugh. Well, at this point, the patient's a little bit chagrined and says, excuse me, but I'm laying here. Could y'all tell me what seems to be so humorous? He said, Ms. Jones, I'm really very sorry. Well, let me ask you a question. He said, did you use the restroom before you came into my exam room? She says, well, yes, I did. I mean, the nurse always suggested it. It's the routine. He said, did you have to use any Kleenex from your purse? And she says, well, as a matter of fact, I did. I have to tell you, I was a little bit miffed about that. I mean, you know, I'm paying you enough for these office visits. Damn, we can see toilet paper in the bathroom. He says, I'm sorry about that. You know, we have to speak to our custodial service. He says, did you go grocery shopping before you came to my office? She said, well, not today, but last night. Why? And he reaches down between her legs and gives a little pull and pulls out a big bonus trading stamp. Anyhow, I think I've exceeded my allotted 5 minutes. You don't want me to leave you on that note? Okay, wait. I can't leave you on that note. One will come to me in just a minute. I usually have a partner in this, Myrna. Myrna, do you have anything to speak up and say?
Mother-in-law joke. What about your mother-in-law joke?
I told the little mother-in-law joke when I first got here. No, I decided that I liked my mother-in-law today. I left all those jokes out of the routine. Shh, quiet. I'll tell it to you later. And yeah, I probably need to leave you with one parting joke of great import. Permit me for a second to look back at my cards, since I think I got most of them down there. Oh my gosh, I'm looking over all of them. Oh my God. Okay, well, just the final one, as long as we're on the doctor vein. The old story about how Mrs. Schwartz came to the doctor for a complete physical with multiple and numerous body aches. The doctor very thoroughly examines all ends, all orifices, tests all body fluid, and says, Mr. Schwartz, come back tomorrow for your consultation and your diagnosis. She comes back in the next day, and he sits down and says, Mr. Schwartz, we've examined you thoroughly, run every laboratory test known to mankind and a few experimental ones, and we've come to the conclusion that your only problem is that you're too fat. She goes, oh, I've never been so insulted in my life. I'd like a second opinion. He goes, okay, you're ugly, too.
Anything you'd like to say, Mark, before you blow out the candle? When was your last pap smear?
That's the one I did.
For all your gynecology needs.
That's the one I did with the corridor.
When's your last pap smear? Thank you, Mark. Those warm words that your friends wanted to hear. It's a beautiful cake. And now you're all gonna have some cake. We're gonna be, yeah, as it falls on my foot, probably. You see, the three brothers specialty, they really outdid themselves this time. She's the Mona. Judy, say something about the cake. Did you make the cake, Judy? Oh, that's wonderful. And a big mazel tov to you, Mark. And, well, I think we're at intermission time. We're going to have some cake, pass out some party favors, gynecology cards, and everything else. So, until then, eat the cake. Seid gesund. But don't eat too much, because you might get a toothache, and, you know, is there a dentist in the crowd tonight? Let's go to that. There's a new Jewish Chinese food restaurant called Sosumi. Just a little bit of... it's an old gag, but what the hell? How often does this happen, right? Throw out the joke. Keep going. What is this? I don't know anymore. Give me the card, Mark. I'm sure there's a couple on there. Give me the card. Give me the card, Mark. Here's Mark's card. Let me see what's on here. A guy walks into a doctor's office. The doctor says, you're going to live to be 60. The guy says, I am 60. The doctor says, what did I tell you? Okay. Guy walks into the doctor's office, says, no one pays attention to me. The doctor said, next. Guy goes in the doctor's office. The doctor says, get naked, stand, look out the window and stick your tongue out. He says, why? He says, I'm mad at my neighbor. Boy, I could go on all night. Oh, yeah. Birthday cake humor at its best. can I have a copy of the tape? I'll give you my address. You know, cut out your part, though. Well, before you eat the cake, we're going to sing the Hamotzi. So, but as you who don't know, follow the bouncing yarmulke. Well, I'm just kidding. This is not BBYO. Thank you to you. Hello, are you married? That's good. I like your pearls. See, the guy couldn't get your weight. It's a joke. This is something that someone told me. I didn't make this up, but you can tell it to your friends tomorrow. You can use this in your act next year. I didn't make this up. I'm going to tell you the joke anyways. You know, the religions are speaking out against abortion, but Jews don't. Because in the Jewish religion, the fetus is not considered a human being until it graduates from law school. That's it. I gotta get off the stage for a second. Let you eat your cake. We'll be right back after this message. Sleepers Hopeless. Wow, we got them. They gallery furniture rental. I-45 between Tidwell and Parker. Bringing you for the lowest prices, lowest quality furniture. Yeah. I got bedroom sets. I got dinette sets. I got a leg from a coffee table up my ass. Enjoy your cake.
Me once. What bothered